The human outpost stood alone on the frozen plain, a small metal structure surrounded by endless white and screaming wind. It was not a place anyone chose for comfort. It was built for work, for watching the sky, for repairing satellites that no one else wanted to deal with. The man inside it had learned to live with silence. His name was Aaron Cole. He was a human systems engineer, sent far from Earth because he was good at fixing things and because he did not complain much. Every day followed the same rhythm. He woke before the artificial dawn, checked the power levels, repaired what the storms damaged, and sent short reports back to command. Most days no one replied. That night was different. The storm outside was worse than usual. Ice struck the metal walls like thrown stones. The lights flickered, then steadied. Aaron sat on his narrow bunk, eating a simple meal from a heated packet. He had just finished when the door sensor blinked red. Someone was outside. That should not have been possible. The nearest settlement was hundreds of kilometers away. No ships were scheduled. No patrols passed this far out. Aaron stood slowly, his hand moving toward the emergency tool mounted on the wall. It was not a weapon, but it could be used like one if needed. Before he could reach the door, it slid open. Cold air rushed in, sharp and painful. A figure stepped inside and the door sealed shut behind her. For a moment, Aaron could only stare. She was not human. She was tall, slim, and clearly exhausted. Her skin had a faint green tone, not bright but natural, like leaves under snow. Her long hair, pale and loose, was dusted with ice. Her eyes were large and dark, focused but tired. She wore a layered alien garment, clearly designed for cold climates but torn along one side. Blood, darker than human blood, stained the fabric near her ribs. Without saying anything, she reached up and removed the outer layer of her dress. It fell to the floor with a soft sound. Underneath, she still wore a fitted inner suit meant for warmth and survival. The gesture was not careless or dramatic. It was precise, almost ritual. Then she looked at Aaron and spoke in careful, accented standard. "Move over." Aaron's mind froze harder than the world outside. "What?" he said. She swayed slightly, then steadied herself against the wall. "This structure is designed for one heat source. 2 bodies increase survival chance. You must move." Only then did he understand. She was not making a demand, she was stating a fact. Aaron lowered his tool and stepped aside. "You're hurt." "Yes." "Sit," he said, pointing to the bunk, "before you fall." She nodded and moved carefully, each step controlled but slow. When she sat, her breathing became shallow. Aaron closed the distance between them, keeping his movements calm. "Who are you?" he asked. "My designation will mean nothing to you," she said. "I am a scout of the Tarethi Accord." Aaron had heard the name. A coalition of alien worlds that avoided direct contact with humans. They observed from a distance, shared little, trusted less. "What happened to your ship?" "Sabotage," she said. "I escaped. I followed your signal." "My signal?" "This outpost broadcasts a low-level human presence code. It is considered dangerous by most species." Aaron gave a short, humorless smile. "That figures." He grabbed a medical kit and knelt in front of her. "I need to check your injury." She watched him closely as he cut away part of the torn fabric. When he touched her skin, she flinched but did not pull away. "You do not fear me?" she asked. "I don't have time to," Aaron replied. "You're bleeding." The wound was deep but clean. Plasma burn, not a blade. He worked slowly, applying sealant and wrapping it with careful hands. She remained still, her eyes never leaving his face. "You let me inside without challenge," she said. "You were freezing to death," he answered. That seemed more important. She considered this in silence. When he finished, he stood and activated the heater to its highest safe level. The room warmed slightly, enough to fight the cold that still clung to her. "You removed your outer dress," Aaron said carefully. "Was that normal for your people?" "No," she replied. "It is a declaration." "Of what?" "Trust," she said, "or surrender." Aaron felt the weight of that word settle in his chest. "You didn't need to do that." "I did," she said. Your species is unpredictable. Directness increases survival odds. The wind howled outside louder now. The outpost shook. Aaron checked the external sensors and frowned. The storm's getting worse. Rescue won't reach this place for at least a day. That is acceptable, she said, if we share warmth. She gestured to the bunk. Only then did he understand what she meant by move over. The bunk was narrow, designed for one human body. Sharing it was not ideal, but the outpost heater could not maintain temperature through the storm alone. Aaron hesitated only a moment, then sat on the edge and shifted to make space. She lay down carefully, keeping distance, her movements controlled and respectful. He lay beside her, stiff at first, then slowly relaxed as the cold began to retreat. They did not touch, not really. Just close enough for warmth to pass between them. "My name is Aaron," he said after a while. She turned her head slightly. "I will call you that." "And you," she paused, "you may call me Sira." The silence returned, but it was different now. Not empty, shared. Hours passed. The storm raged. The outpost lights dimmed but held. Sira's breathing steadied as the painkillers took effect. "You chose to help me," she said quietly, "even knowing what I am." "I chose to help a person," Aaron replied. "Species comes second." "That belief is rare," she said. "Among my people, humans are known for aggression." Aaron let out a slow breath. "We're known for a lot of things, not all of them true." Her fingers twitched, brushing his sleeve by accident. She froze. "I did not mean." "It's fine," he said. "You're safe here." She studied his face in the low light. "You say that easily." "I mean it," he replied. Outside, something moved. The sensors beeped softly. Aaron stiffened and checked the display. Heat signatures approached through the storm. Multiple, not rescue. "Sira," he said quietly. "Someone's coming." Her eyes sharpened instantly, pain forgot. "They found me." "Who?" "The ones who destroyed my ship," she said. "They cannot be allowed to take me alive." Aaron looked at the small outpost, at the limited tools, at the storm that hid everything. "Well," he said, standing, "then they picked the wrong door." Sira watched him with something new in her eyes. Not fear, not doubt, respect. The night was far from over, and the galaxy had just taken its first step towards something it did not yet understand. The warning lights glowed dim red across the small outpost. The storm outside screamed like a living thing, wind and ice tearing across the frozen plain. Aaron stood still for a moment, listening to the soft beeping of the sensor panel. Each sound meant movement. Each signal meant danger. Sira rose from the bunk despite her injury. Her posture changed completely. The tired, wounded scout was gone. In her place stood someone alert and sharp, trained for survival. "How many?" she asked. "Hard to say," Aaron replied, adjusting the screen. "The storm messes with readings, at least 3, maybe more." "They are hunters," Sira said. "They track by heat and signal." "Your outpost makes both," Aaron nodded. "Then we'll change that." He moved quickly, pulling open storage panels and grabbing tools. The outpost was old, basic, but it had been built by humans who expected things to break. Wires, spare parts, manual switches, nothing was fully automated. That gave him options. Sira watched as he worked, her eyes following every movement. "You are calm," she said. "I'm focused," he answered. "Fear comes later." She considered this. "That is also rare." Aaron shut down the main external heat output. The temperature inside dropped instantly. "You'll freeze us," Sira said. "Not if we reroute it," he replied. He opened a floor panel and began working fast. "I'm dumping excess heat into the ground, spreading it wide. Makes us harder to spot." Outside, the hunters moved closer, their shapes barely visible through the snow. Tall, armored figures with angular silhouettes. Their species name did not matter to Aaron. What mattered was intent. "They want you," he said. "Yes," Sira replied. "And once they have me, they will come for your kind next. Humans are considered useful." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Not happening." He finished rerouting the system and cut the main lights. The outpost fell into shadow, lit only by emergency strips along the floor. "Can you move?" he asked. Yes, she said, pain will not stop me. Good, because I need you to trust me. She met his eyes. You already carry that burden. The first impact hit the outer wall like a hammer. Metal groaned. Snow poured from the ceiling seams. They're testing the structure, Aaron said, seeing if we respond. Sira moved beside him. If they breach, I will fight. With what? He asked, glancing at her empty hands. She lifted her chin. With everything I have left. Aaron shook his head. No. We're doing this the human way. He opened a side compartment and pulled out a portable power cell, then another. He set them near the door, connecting cables with quick, practiced movements. You are creating an overload, Sira said. A controlled one, he replied. When they opened the door, her eyes widened slightly. You will destroy your shelter. Only part of it, he said, and only if they force us. The hunters circled the outpost now. Their voices echoed faintly through the storm, harsh and clicking. They are communicating, Sira said. They believe you are weak. Aaron gave a small smile. We get that a lot. The door began to cut open, a bright line of heat slicing through the metal. Snow melted and hissed. The structure trembled. Now, Aaron said. He triggered the release and rolled back. The power cells discharged in a blinding flash. The explosion was not large, but it was precise. Energy surged outward, frying sensors and throwing two of the attackers back into the snow. The door collapsed inward, half melted, half shattered. Aaron grabbed Sira's hand and pulled her down a side corridor as alarms blared. They will recover quickly, she said, running despite the pain. I know, he replied. That's why we're not staying. He opened a hidden maintenance hatch beneath the floor and pushed it aside. Cold air rushed up. Below was a narrow tunnel leading to an external relay station buried under ice. I didn't know this existed, Sira said. Most people don't, Aaron replied. That's the point. They climbed down just as blaster fire tore through the main room above. The tunnel was dark, barely wide enough for one person at a time. Aaron went first, guiding her steps. Behind them, the outpost shook again. Metal screamed, then silence. They think you are dead, Sira said softly. Let's keep it that way, Aaron replied. They reached the relay station, a small dome of reinforced alloy half buried in ice. Inside, emergency power still hummed. Aaron sealed the hatch and leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Sira sat slowly, her strength fading. The pain returned all at once. She clenched her jaw but made no sound. Aaron knelt beside her. You're pushing too hard. I must survive, she said, for my people. And mine, he added. She looked at him, surprised. You include your species in this. They're coming for us too, he said. That makes it shared. The hunters' signals moved away from the destroyed outpost. They believed the threat was gone, for now. Aaron activated the relay console and began sending a burst message on a tight beam frequency. Human encryption, emergency priority. This will alert command, he said, and anyone else listening. That may bring more danger, Sira warned. It'll bring allies, he replied. That's how humans work. She studied him for a long moment. You risk much for a stranger, he shrugged. You stopped being a stranger when you trusted me. Her hand rested lightly against his arm, steadying herself. The contact was brief, but intentional. In my culture, she said quietly, what you have done binds honor. In mine, Aaron replied, it's just doing the right thing. The relay station shook as the storm intensified. Outside, the galaxy moved, unaware that something important had shifted. Sira closed her eyes, exhaustion finally taking her. Aaron stayed awake, watching the screens, guarding the door. For the first time in a long while, he was not alone. And for the first time, the galaxy was about to learn that humans did not step aside when darkness knocked. They moved over. They stood their ground. The relay station hummed softly, its old systems working harder than they had in years. Frost crept along the walls, but inside, the air remained just warm enough to keep the equipment alive. Aaron sat near the console, eyes fixed on the scrolling data. The emergency signal had gone out, but space was vast, and help did not arrive quickly, even when it was human help. Sira slept on a folded thermal blanket nearby. Her breathing was shallow but steady. The pain treatment Aaron had given her was basic, made for humans, but her body accepted it well enough. He watched her chest rise and fall, feeling a strange responsibility settle deep inside him. He had not planned to protect an alien scout. He had not planned to stand between her and enemies that hunted across star systems. Yet here he was. The console chimed softly. Aaron leaned forward. A return signal, weak, fragmented, but real. "Come on," he whispered, adjusting the receiver. The signal sharpened, resolving into human code. This was not command. It was a civilian ship, a mining transport far off course, picking up his distress call by accident. Their captain responded with caution, not knowing what waited on the frozen world. Aaron sent a short reply. "Hostiles present, do not approach, relay message to human command." The response took long seconds to return. "Understood, message sent, we cannot assist directly." Aaron leaned back, exhaling slowly. It was something, now the clock was ticking. Behind him, Sira stirred. Her eyes opened, alert even through exhaustion. "They will return," she said. "Yes," Aaron replied, "and next time they'll be smarter." She pushed herself upright with effort. "They failed to retrieve me. Failure invites escalation." "That sounds bad." "It is," she said. "They will send a leader, someone who does not accept loss." Aaron nodded. "Then we don't let them take control of the situation." Sira studied the small relay station. "This place cannot withstand a full assault." "No," he agreed. "But it doesn't have to." He stood and moved to a storage rack, pulling out a compact environmental beacon. Old tech, reliable, he handed it to her. "What is this?" she asked. "A signal amplifier," he said. "Normally used to mark crash sites, but if I modify it." "It could mimic a ship's core signature," she finished. Aaron raised an eyebrow. "You know human tech well." "I study all potential allies and threats," she replied. "Your kind is both." He gave a faint smile. "Fair." They worked together in silence, passing tools, adjusting circuits. Sira's movements were slower now but precise. Her injury burned, but she ignored it. The beacon's frequency shifted, pulsing like a living thing. Outside, the storm began to weaken. The wind lost some of its fury. Visibility improved. That worried Aaron. "They'll find us easier now," he said. "Yes," Sira replied, "but they will also see what we want them to see." They moved the beacon to the far side of the relay dome and buried it under ice, aligning it to broadcast a false signal far from their actual position. When activated, it would look like a damaged ship core, rich with energy. "Bait." Sira looked at Aaron. "You are certain?" "No," he said honestly, "but I'm human. That means I try anyway." She inclined her head. "Then I will stand with you." The ground trembled, both of them froze, heavy footsteps, not rushing, measured, confident. "They have arrived," Sira said quietly. "The leader." The hunters emerged through the thinning snow. This time there were fewer, but they moved with discipline. At their center walked a larger figure, armored differently, marked with symbols of rank. Its voice carried through the cold air, amplified and calm. "Sira of the Tarethi," it called. "You cannot hide forever." Sira's jaw tightened. "That is Commander Vithrak." Aaron watched through the cracked viewport. "He doesn't sound angry." "He does not need to," she replied. "He believes this is already over." The commander gestured and the hunters spread out, scanning. One of them turned toward the beacon's location. "They see it," Aaron said. Vithrak's head tilted slightly. "A damaged core," he said aloud. "Human technology, predictable." The hunters advanced toward the false signal. Aaron waited until they were close. "Now," he said. Sira activated the beacon at full power. The signal spiked wildly, mimicking a critical overload. The hunters reacted instantly, weapons raised. Vithrak stopped them with a single motion. "Clever," the commander said, "but flawed." He turned, eyes locking onto the relay station. Aaron's blood went cold. "He sees us," he said. "Yes," Sira replied softly. He always does. The commander raised a hand. A device activated. The ground beneath the relay station vibrated violently. Cracks spread across the ice. "They will collapse the dome," Aaron said. "We must leave," Sierra replied. "There's nowhere to go." She met his eyes. "There is one option." Before he could respond, she stepped forward, opening the hatch. "What are you doing?" Aaron asked sharply. "I will surrender," she said. "You are not their target." "No," he said, grabbing her arm. "That's not happening." "If they take me," she continued, voice steady, "they will spare you. Your species remains ignorant of what hunts it." Aaron shook his head. "I don't trade lives like that." "You would doom many for one," she said. "I would refuse to abandon someone who trusted me," he replied. For a long moment they stared at each other. Then Sierra did something unexpected. She smiled, just slightly. "This," she said, "is why your kind is dangerous." The dome shook again. Ice rained from above. Aaron made his decision. He pulled Sierra back and sealed the hatch. Then he rerouted all remaining power into the relay's transmitter. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Broadcasting everything," he said. "Their presence, their ships, their commander. That will expose humanity," she warned. "Yes," he said, "but it will also prepare them." The signal screamed into space, unencrypted and undeniable. Outside, Vithrek paused, sensing the change. "So," the commander said, voice colder now, "you choose defiance." The relay station groaned as the hunters closed in. Aaron stood beside Sierra, tools discarded, hands empty but steady. "No," he said quietly, "we choose each other." The ice above them began to crack, and far beyond the frozen world, human systems started to listen. The ice finally gave way with a deep, echoing crack. The relay station shook as heavy blocks of frozen ground collapsed around it. Alarms screamed, then went silent as power lines snapped. Only the emergency lights remained, bathing the small space in a dull blue glow. Aaron was thrown against the wall. He hit hard, pain flashing through his shoulder. He pushed himself up immediately, ignoring it. "Sierra," he called. "I am here," she replied, her voice steady despite the chaos. Dust and frost filled the air. Above them, a jagged opening yawned where the ceiling had been. Through it the storm-dark sky loomed, and with it the shapes of their enemies. Commander Vithrek stood at the edge, looking down. Snow and wind curled around his armor, but he stood unmoving, calm as stone. "You broadcast our presence," Vithrek said. "That was unwise." Aaron stepped forward, placing himself between Sierra and the opening. "You shouldn't have come here." Vithrek's gaze shifted to him. "You are human, fragile, short-lived, yet you interfere." "Yeah," Aaron said. "That's kind of our thing." The commander gestured. Two hunters lowered a cable, descending into the broken relay station. Their movements were slow and controlled. They were not rushing. They knew they had the advantage. Sierra leaned close to Aaron. "If they take me now, your message still stands. Humanity will prepare." "That's not enough," Aaron whispered back. "We need more time." "How?" she asked. Aaron glanced at the damaged console. A single indicator blinked weakly. Auxiliary power, barely alive. He made a choice. "Trust me," he said. She searched his face, then nodded once. "I do." Aaron ran. He sprinted toward the console as the first hunter hit the floor behind them. Energy fire scorched the wall where he had stood seconds before. Aaron slid across the ice-coated floor, slamming into the console and ripping open the panel. "What are you doing?" Vithrek demanded. "Improvising," Aaron muttered. He tore loose cables, hands moving on instinct. Years of fixing broken machines in forgotten places guided him now. He rerouted the auxiliary power into the relay's core, bypassing safety limits. The console whined, then surged. Outside the relay station, far beneath the ice, something ancient stirred. The outpost had been built above a geothermal fault, a natural heat source that powered deep sensors long abandoned. Aaron woke it up. The ground trembled violently. Steam burst from cracks in the ice, roaring upward like the breath of a buried giant. The hunters stumbled. One lost his footing and fell back into the pit, vanishing into the mist. Vithrak stepped back, surprised for the first time. "You risk destroying this world," the commander said. "It's already trying to kill us," Aaron replied. "I'm just helping it choose sides." The temperature spiked rapidly. Ice melted, then refroze in violent bursts. Visibility dropped to nothing. Sira moved with sudden speed. She grabbed a fallen weapon, unfamiliar but usable. She positioned herself beside Aaron, back to back. "You should not stand," she said. "You are injured." "So are you," he replied. "Guess we're even." Another hunter dropped into the relay station, weapon raised. Sira reacted instantly, striking with precision. The hunter fell, stunned, not dead. She moved away, breathing hard. "You could have ended him," Aaron said. "Yes," she replied. "But humans value restraint. I am learning." The relay station began to collapse further. Metal groaned. The beacon outside detonated, overwhelmed by the energy surge, sending a blinding flash across the plain. High above, in orbit, that flash was seen. Human ships changed course. Vithrak's voice cut through the chaos. "Enough! This ends now." The commander descended into the pit, landing heavily but smoothly. He was taller up close, broader, his presence crushing. "You are one human," Vithrak said to Aaron. "One alien scout. You cannot win." Aaron met his gaze. "We already did." Vithrak tilted his head. "Explain." "You came here quiet," Aaron said. "Hidden, confident no one was watching. Now the whole sector knows you exist," Sira added, "and that you hunt diplomats." For the first time, Vithrak's silence lingered too long. "Reputation matters," Aaron continued. "You just lost yours." Vithrak raised his weapon. "Reputation can be managed." Before he could fire, the ground shook again, harder than before. A thunderous sound rolled across the plain, not from below, from the sky. Engines, human engines. Dropships broke through the clouds, burning hot against the cold sky. Their lights cut through the storm like blades. Loudspeakers crackled to life. "This is Human Defense Command," a voice boomed. "Unidentified forces on the surface, stand down immediately." The hunters froze. Vithrak looked up slowly. "You summoned them," he said. Aaron smiled, tired but fierce. "Told you humans listen when you scream loud enough." Blaster fire erupted outside as human troops deployed, disciplined and fast. The hunters tried to retreat, but escape routes vanished under suppressive fire. They were surrounded. Vithrak lowered his weapon, calculating. "You have changed the balance," he said to Sira. "Your people will answer for this." She stepped forward, pain etched across her face, but her voice was clear. "No, yours will." Human soldiers dropped into the relay station, weapons trained but controlled. Their commander approached Aaron. "Engineer Cole," she asked. "That's me," he replied. "You caused quite a mess," she said, glancing at the collapsing structure and the captured hunters. Aaron shrugged weakly. "Outpost was due for maintenance." Medics rushed to Sira, scanning her injury with careful hands. She did not resist. Her eyes stayed on Aaron. "You kept your word," she said quietly. "So did you," he replied. Vithrak was restrained, bound by human tech and alien law alike. As he was led away, he paused, looking back at Aaron. "You are not what we expected," the commander said. Aaron met his gaze. "Get used to disappointment." The storm began to clear at last. The frozen plain lay broken but peaceful under a pale sky. As Aaron was guided toward a dropship, exhaustion finally caught up with him. He stumbled and Sira caught his arm. "Careful," she said. He laughed softly. "Guess I'm the fragile one after all." She shook her head. "No, you are something far more dangerous." Above them, the ships lifted off, carrying prisoners, survivors, and a message that would echo across the stars. Humanity had been seen, and it had not moved aside. Only one part remained. The dropship cut through the thinning clouds, engines roaring against the cold wind. Below, the frozen plain stretched like a shattered mirror of white and ice. Aaron sat stiffly against the bulkhead, watching the alien scout Sira being tended by human medics. She was alive, alert, and strangely calm despite everything she had endured. "Do you need anything else?" Aaron asked the medic, keeping his voice low. "Not at the moment," the medic replied. "Your friend is stable. She'll heal quickly with proper treatment." Aaron nodded, though his mind was elsewhere. For days he had feared losing her, feared that the hunters or the storm would claim her first. But now, flying through the thin air above the plane, he felt a small relief. Not complete. Relief never came complete in situations like this, but enough to breathe. Sierra looked at him, her dark green eyes reflecting the cabin lights. "You saved my life," she said simply. "I didn't do it for you," Aaron replied. "I did it because it was right and because you trusted me." Her lips curved into a faint smile. "Your kind surprises me. Humans act unpredictably, yet with purpose. I did not expect this." "That's the thing," Aaron said. "We aren't predictable, and that's how we survive." The dropship banked gently, heading toward a larger human outpost. Communication had already reached command, and preparations were underway for a full debrief. Aaron didn't care much for accolades or reports, but he knew that what they had done today mattered. Not just for them, but for the galaxy. Sierra leaned back, her breathing easing further as the warmth from the cabin replaced the lingering cold. "Your actions, they will change perceptions. Among my people, humans are considered aggressive, selfish, and unreliable. That view will not hold after this." Aaron shrugged, trying to appear modest. "I don't do things to impress aliens. I do them to survive and to protect what matters. Sometimes the two are the same thing." She studied him for a long moment. "Then perhaps that is why your species endures. You take risks, yet you remain accountable. You make choices others would avoid." The dropship rattled slightly as turbulence hit. Aaron glanced outside. The sun was rising over the horizon, casting pale light across the shattered snow. Even in the storm's aftermath, the world below looked alive again. Somehow, fragile and enduring at the same time. When they landed at the outpost, a small crowd awaited. Scientists, military personnel, and a few curious civilians. All watched as Aaron and Sierra stepped off the ship. Sierra moved carefully, but her expression remained composed, even regal. Aaron noticed how she carried herself despite her injuries. She had been through so much, yet she was unbroken. A commanding officer approached, clipboard in hand. "Engineer Cole, we received your signal. I understand the situation was complicated." Aaron nodded. "You could say that." The officer glanced at Sierra. "And you are?" She inclined her head slightly. "I am Sierra of the Tarethia Accord. I was being pursued." "Understood," the officer said, scribbling notes. "You will both be debriefed. And Engineer Cole, there may be commendations in order for your actions." Aaron waved a hand. "I don't need medals. I just did what had to be done." Sierra looked at him, her eyes reflecting quiet admiration. "That is why your species is dangerous," she said softly, so only he could hear. "What do you mean?" he asked, curious. "You act for the moment, yet you shape the future without realizing it," she replied. "One decision, trusting me, saving me, has changed the balance of power. It has reshaped alliances and perception. Your species can endure because of moments like this." Aaron shrugged again, unsure how to respond. He had never considered himself influential on a galactic scale. He had simply tried to survive and protect someone who depended on him. Sierra extended her hand toward him. "I will return to my people, but know this: humans will be respected, not feared because of you. You have given hope." He looked at her, then reached out, taking her hand briefly, not as a gesture of intimacy but of recognition. "Then let's make sure hope survives," he said. The next days were filled with debriefings and data transfer. Sierra shared information about her people, her mission, and the hunters who had pursued her. Human Command listened carefully, absorbing the knowledge of a species that had always remained distant and cautious. Aaron observed quietly, knowing that the knowledge exchanged today would prevent many conflicts tomorrow. Evenings were quieter. Aaron and Sierra often sat together in the small recreation hall of the outpost, watching the distant stars. The Tarethi scout, once distrustful of humans, now observed them with a mixture of admiration and curiosity. Aaron, on the other hand, found the presence of another being who trusted him comforting, even if he didn't admit it aloud. "You will return to your people soon," he said one evening. "Are you ready?" "I am," she replied, her voice calm. "But I will carry your example with me." Humans are not predictable, yes, but they act with purpose. I will tell my leaders of this. Of you, Aaron nodded. Just don't make me sound more heroic than I am. I'm just a guy who did what had to be done. She smiled faintly. Heroism is in the eyes of those who witness it. You are a hero, Aaron Cole. For a long moment they sat in silence, listening to the quiet hum of the outpost and the soft wind outside. Trust had been built through action, not words, and the bond between them was stronger for it. They had faced impossible odds together, survived the hunt, and changed the perception of humanity in a corner of the galaxy. Finally, the day came when Sira's transport arrived. Her mission continued, but the bond forged in the frozen wasteland would not be forgotten. "You have changed my people," she said as she prepared to depart. "And you have changed me." "You've changed me too," Aaron replied simply. "Don't underestimate what humans can do when we stand for what's right." She inclined her head, a gesture of respect. "I will not." The transport lifted off, carrying her back toward her people, toward the galaxy that now knew a new truth. Humans did not abandon those in need, did not cower before danger, and acted with a courage that inspired even those who once feared them. Aaron watched until the ship was a distant point among the stars, then turned back to the outpost. The storm had passed, leaving a cold, silent world, but one now alive with the promise of change. He returned to his work quietly, checking systems, maintaining the outpost, yet a sense of purpose remained deeper than before. The galaxy had shifted slightly because of his actions, and he knew it. Humans were stronger, cleverer, and more compassionate than many species believed. And if trust and courage could survive in a place like this, in a storm that seemed endless, then humanity had a future worth fighting for. And perhaps somewhere out there, a Tarethi scout would carry that knowledge, remembering a human engineer who refused to step aside, who fought not for glory, but for what was right. In the quiet hum of the outpost, Aaron allowed himself a small smile. The stars stretched endlessly above, but humans, he thought, could reach them, and more importantly, they could endure. The galaxy had learned something new. Humans were not to be underestimated. They could survive anything. And when they chose to act, even one person could change everything. Aaron returned to his console, making notes, preparing for the next mission, and waiting for the next challenge. But this time he knew something deeper. The universe was wide, uncertain, and dangerous. But humans, if they stood together and trusted wisely, were capable of incredible things. The stars gleamed cold above, yet in that frozen outpost warmth remained, not just from heaters and circuits, but from the trust forged between two unlikely allies. The galaxy had shifted and humanity had proven itself, quietly, powerfully, and enduringly. And somewhere, Sira watched the stars too, remembering a human who had changed her life, and perhaps the course of her people's history.